to the IHH for Veteran weekly live stream. Here at IHH for Veteran, we specialize in assisting veterans with their physical and mental health transformation. This group addresses the unique challenges of veterans to improve their overall quality of life. Many veterans have expressed they have questions regarding the booming psychedelic companies. So we will be studying the psychedelic space and the companies that are taking advantage of it. Over the past few years, startups focused on turning psychedelic compounds into approved medicines have raised hundreds of millions of dollars from private investors and dozens from public companies. Research on compounds like psilocybin, the active compound found in magic mushrooms, and MDMA, is resurfacing after years of neglect amid the war on drugs. Meanwhile, like organizations like the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies are finally inching closer to receiving approval for their treatment from regulators. As companies get closer to receiving approval from the Food and Drug Administration to bring their psychedelic treatments to patients, they've also been planning out their patient strategies to carve out their share of the market. Venture capital investors have been at the center of the psychedelic boom. In the early 2020s, startups in the space said they were beginning to see signs that investors' appetite was growing, sparking a psychedelic renaissance. Soon, venture capital firms focused on psychedelic companies began to emerge. Insiders list of the top 11 venture capital investors in the space collectively deployed $139.8 million into startups in just a few short years. We're also beginning to see more mainstream biotech investors wade into the psychedelic industry. RA Capital alone has invested in 3 psychedelic startups since 2021. Partner Andrew told insiders he's looking for companies with short-acting drugs that can be given without extensive supervision. Some psychedelic investors, however, are still wary about entering the newest psychedelic space, Oregon's soon-to-be legal magic mushroom market. 4 investors told Insider that they're worried it could be hard for companies in this market to turn a profit, and that magic mushrooms will still be illegal under federal law. In a signal that the psychedelic space is becoming mainstream, startup accelerators known for investing in tech, retail, and healthcare are jumping in. Famed startup accelerator Y Combinator is dabbing into psychedelics. The organization has accepted at least 4 startups into its program. Insiders spoke to 3 of the startups to ask them about their experience and the advice they would give to other founders. Founders Factory, an accelerator that worked with companies like L'Oreal, Johnson & Johnson, and Marks & Spencer, is another mainstream player that's eyeing the $100 billion industry. The organization is partnering with psychedelic companies Woven Science to support a handful of early-stage startups focused on psychedelic-based mental health treatments. A slew of companies have entered the psychedelic industry, but a few stand out as front runners. In February 2020, Atea CEO Florian Brand said he was turning to pharma and biotech investors as the company looked to further grow. At that time, Atea was a private company that made headlines for winning over backers like Mike Novograph and Peter Thine. In 2021, the company raised a record $157 million, pushing psychedelics further into the mainstream. But there have been challenges for the giant since then. In January, Atea announced disappointing results from a much-anticipated trial for a ketamine-based treatment, which was being tested to treat resistant depression. Compass Pathways, which is testing psilocybin, the psychoactive compound found in magic mushrooms, started late stage trials for its treatment in late 2022. The company's new CEO, Keba Nath, told Insider in November that data from his firm's upcoming clinical trial could finally persuade Big Pharma to take a serious interest in the psychedelic industry. Change has been bubbling in the state and local events. In 2020, Oregon legalized psilocybin for therapeutic purposes, but that doesn't mean you'll see the giants rush in. The biggest companies in the space told Insider they were focused on seeking approval for their experimental substances from the FDA. To schedule a complimentary assessment, just go to my website, veteransvictory.org. Thank you and good night.